So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to scale your wholesale business using paid ads. I'm going to walk you through the entire funnel that I use, all the way down to literally the exact winning ads I scripted for my clients. The first step of the funnel is what your ICP is actually seeing, and these are called the creatives. Essentially, this could be a picture creative. So when you're on Facebook and you see an ad that has some copy, and then it has a picture, and it has a button to click below. Or it can be a video ad with copy, instead of a picture, a video, and then an option to click a link below. Typically, what performs better in 2026 are video ads. It depends on the campaign, it depends on the niche, but generally, we're going to be talking about video creatives today. There are different types of video creatives as well within the video creative section. So the best ones are typically talking head, UGC, and testimonial ads. There are also things like B-roll ads, founder ads, and then there are Facebook and PPC retargeting ads. You can also retarget on something like YouTube as well. But essentially, the winners come down to these UGC, talking head, and testimonial ads. Essentially, what that means is UGC are ads created in the style that looks like it's filmed on your phone, and it's a selfie style format. Testimonial ads are ads where you record your client before they started working with you and the success they achieved after they're done working with you. And then talking head creatives are essentially just you in front of a camera horizontally, exactly the way I'm positioned, selling your service. The next part you want to understand about creatives are the goals. So the goal of the creative is essentially to resonate with your ideal client. You want them to feel the pain that they've experienced, and then offer them some sort of solution or way out of that pain. So with wholesale, if you can talk about the pains of a divorce, tons of stuff left in the house, tons of paperwork, stress, dealing with everything, and you just want to be out of the house and everything to be done with. You want a quick, easy, fast process. The same thing happens with an inherited property, divvying it up with the siblings or whoever else is a part of the deed or the property. You want a fast situation to get out of it so you can get cash and you don't have to deal with the hassle. And this is the general theme of the pain that most of your ideal clients are going to be experiencing. And you're going to offer them a solution on that, which is your cash offer. And how you position that is how you position your landing page. Typically, on an opt-in page, you're going to have a quiz, or you're going to have a video sales letter and have an option to have them book a call directly into your calendar. Typically, you want to have a hybrid of both, where they land on an opt-in page, they submit their information, and then at the end of the quiz, they have an ability to book a call with a VSL at the end of it, just telling them the next steps, more about your business, anything to build more authority. Now, when somebody sees your ad and they land on a landing page, the form should be having qualification questions on it. So instead of just saying, contact us, name, email, phone number, you want to start with your property address. And the reason that you start with the property address is because you want there to be enough friction where you're not attracting anyone and everyone that comes into the pipeline. And you also want it to be seamless for them. So once they put in their address, you then move them to the next question, which is anything from what situation are you currently in? Are you divorced? Are you inheriting a property, etc.? And as they fill out these questions, they're micro-committing more and more, but it's not too much friction or too many questions being asked because they don't really know when the quiz is going to be over. And it's simple, easy questions that they can fill out within literally less than 30 seconds. The whole form can be completed. And then at the end, they submit their information, it gets submitted to you, and you do your work. Now, you can also add partial submit points. What that means is if they submitted their address and they didn't fill out the rest of the form, you at least have their address into the system so that you can contact them and send them certain email flows, etc. And if they filled out the rest of the information, great. But you want these to be able to capture as much data and as much people as possible because people are going to turn away. Trust is at an all-time low. You need to be building trust maximally. And the last thing with qualification is, let's say they filled out the form and they come to a question like, when are you looking to sell? I'm not sure I'm ready to sell. Let's say that's one of the options. So you can either have ASAP, within 1 to 3 months, 6 to 12 months. I'm not sure. If they click I'm not sure, you're going to have conditional logic that basically states, okay, sorry, we're not taking this criteria at this time, or something along those lines. This way you can unqualify anybody that is not serious about moving. You don't have to waste your time. And although it's going to cost more per lead, in the end, it's going to cost you less time, allow you to allocate energy on the things that actually matter, the leverage that actually builds the business further, and you're going to just get better clients in general. So that's the point of the qualification page. After they're done submitting all of their information, you want to have a trust page. Basically, this can look like a thank you page with case studies, FAQ, objection handlers, anything that boosts your authority and status and directly solves the problems that your ideal clients are experiencing. And then what you're going to want to do is indirectly, if you run Google or YouTube ads, what you can do is take the data, which Google stores for you once you have enough of it, where you can run retargeting ads to people that have automatically opted in, and then you can just use different types of ads. So these are where the testimonial ads come in. So let's say, for example, someone saw your ad. It was a talking head ad, and you talked about the pains of divorce and how you can offer them a cash offer solution in less than 7 days, no repairs needed, and you want to buy their house for near market value without any of the hassle. This is going to be a cold person. They've been searching things that are relevant to selling, so they're not completely cold per se. They're still in the market, but they don't know who you are. They fill out their information, and they get to a partial qualification process at the landing page and on the form, but they decide, hey, I don't want to fill out my information. Google stores this data, and what you're going to do is send ads to the people that have partially submitted but haven't completed the form, so that your ads can pop up and activate the mere exposure effect. This is going to basically put you in front of them as much times as possible till eventually they say, look, I can't deal with the situation anymore. These people are solving all my questions. They have all the answers. I might as well just work with them. And this is what's going to build trust. And this is how, when you come in, you can increase things, which we're going to talk about in a bit, like your close rate, your lead to appointment rate, and even your average assignment fee. So essentially, once they come into the pipeline, this is now the sales aspect. So you've got your creatives, you got your landing pages, you have qualification opt-in quizzes to ensure that the high quality leads are coming in. And now you need to do the back end work. Non-negotiable, you need a setter in your business. And they should be calling within sub 5 minutes of them opting in. If you can't do this, if you run a smaller operation, if you find yourself to be busy and you're stuck into the business, you want an AI bot that's going to do this for you, because it's better to have something contact someone than have nobody contact them and them drop off and you never talk to them again. Obviously, if you have the retargeting ads in place for these people that have opted in, that's great. But if they submitted their entire information and you're not contacting them, you're not filling your end of the bargain, they're probably going to list with an agent or they're going to talk to somebody else, and it's just not going to be optimal for you. And the second thing you want to do, assuming, let's say, the setter calls, whether they booked an appointment or not, you want to be sending them 2 to 3 emails a day handling objections. So any objection that you have, if you have recordings of sales calls, if you take videos of where people are at before and after the service, any data you have on how the customers feel, what pains they're experiencing, and why your solution was better, you want to package those in an email, format it in a way that's easy to read, and that people can then say, okay, I was experiencing this too. And these people solved this person's problem, and they're talking directly to me. So in essence, the psychology behind it is, well, why not me? Why can't that solve be me for me as well? And you also want to have SMS texts being sent as well, booking a call. Obviously, you don't want 2 or 3 SMS texts being sent a day. You're going to be blocked, and that's not going to work out. But you do want frequent messages just being set, especially if they booked appointments, etc. And then the final thing is the sales team numbers. So you want to know all 3 of these metrics here: lead to appointment percentage, close rate, and the average assignment fee. These are the most important. Everybody talks about cost per lead. They talk about cost per click. They talk about what's my click-through rate. And while these things matter, the only things that really matter is what your close rate is out of anything else. Then you can optimize things like lead to appointment percentage. Then you can optimize things like cost per lead. But then and only then, once your close rate you figured is at its maximum capacity, or its highest potential rather, don't worry about anything else. Now, the first thing you want to establish is your average assignment fee. So let's say, for example, it's 10 to 20,000. Let's use 10,000 for this example. I love doing it in my videos because it's just easy to do the math. Let's say your close rate, for example, of those that lead to appointments, let's say 20% of them actually end up closing. Or honestly, a more realistic number would be 40. So 40% of the leads that you end up having an appointment with end up closing. Okay, great. So that means that essentially, let's say, for example, every 1 out of every 5 leads ends up being an appointment. That means that 40% of every 5 leads that come in. So it takes about 10 leads or about 12 leads to come in order to close a deal. If your cost per lead is about, let's say, $100 and it's costing you 12 leads to get it, that's $1,200 cost per closed deal. And that's the most important number. Now, if you had a machine where you inputted $1, you threw it in another 20 cents, you pressed the button, and then out came $10, I'm sure you'd keep pressing that machine over and over. And that's nearly a 10x return on investment, or return on ad spend, or investment if you're running it yourself. So that's essentially the key metrics you want to be tracking. If you don't know these, chances are your sales team's not going to be performing at their peak capacity. They don't really know what the problems are, the bottlenecks are, and you can't solve those bottlenecks if you don't have these numbers tracked. So ensure that these are tracked in your CRM, whether it's Podio, whether it's Salesforce, whether it's Go High Level. Track these metrics. And now, just to show you specific examples, here's an example of one of my clients' accounts. And this is what I want to show you. The average click-through rate is literally 0.64%. Now, people were telling me, and honestly, I mentioned it and recommended it in my videos, you want to have a click-through rate of above 1%. And that's like kind of the average, what you should be saying. But in 2026, this has kind of shifted, especially mid-2026 now, going, we're at May 23rd now. And, well, the time that I'm actually recording this. And the CTR hasn't really mattered as much. We spent, on this campaign here, we've had 2 campaigns that are being shown in front of you. We spent $1,600 on this campaign. We generated 24 leads, and now it says 23.51. For whatever reason, it decided to glitch. And we have a cost per opt-in of less than $70 if you count this as 24 conversions. So we're getting $70 cost per lead, but we only have a 0.64% click-through rate. It doesn't matter what the click-through rate is if we're getting a $70 cost per lead, because 1 out of every 10 leads closed here. We got 2 closed deals out of this already. And the cost per form was $76, was about $75, slightly less than the amount of people that opted in. The point I'm making here is what you want is to just be tracking how many leads are coming in and what is the cost per closed deal. For this, we were able to get an $800 cost per acquisition, cost per closed deal. Extremely healthy margins for this one. We closed 1 deal, so it was a little bit higher, but there's other deals under contract. And the point is here, what matters is the cost per closed deal. So what we did as well is this was the landing page. So sell your house fast without the hassle, no showings, no fees, no stress. And then we had an option where essentially they would input their information, and then they would end up on the final option where they could submit their information for a cash offer, and they'd be redirected to a landing page a thank you page where it says you're all set. We have what happens next page with essentially video testimonials, everything they need to make it a no-brainer to submit their information. And the ad that we used is this. So Georgia homeowners, if you need to sell your home fast without making any repairs, listen up. I want to buy your house as is, no matter what condition it's in. And you're going to see, this is going to be touching on the pain. So in fact, we'll buy your house as is without any repairs, inspections, or fees to you in as little as 14 days. On top of that, we will cover your monthly rent, mortgage, and any moving expenses that you have during the process. So if you're looking to sell your house quickly, without the hassle, then click the button below. Answer a few quick questions. It takes about 15 seconds, and we will give you a fair, legitimate cash offer. So the point of this is you're basically giving all the benefits and eliminating as much pain as possible, so you don't have to worry about any repairs, inspections, or fees. We'll buy it in little as 14 days, so there's speed, there's no hassle, and on top of that, you're giving you benefit. We're providing benefits, so we're going to cover monthly rent, mortgage, and any moving expenses that you have during the process. So literally, it's a no-brainer to submit your information, and because the form is so low friction, they have the option to submit multi-step form questions. This is how we end up with a cost per conversion of $70 on YouTube, which the cost per lead is high, and a cost per acquisition of $800. And then finally, on the back end, what we had is obviously we have an ISA calling the leads that are coming into the pipeline, but we also have personalized emails that get sent and a personalized text as well that gets sent to the lead. So it just confirms the fact that they submitted their information and that we're going to be contacting them soon, but we need the automatic touch point to confirm, hey, we hear you, we've got your information, we're working on everything we can, just sit tight, but we're here. And this is already separating you from everybody else. So The example of the message was, this was the text sent. Hi, contact full name. Thank you for your property analysis request for that address. Please confirm by replying yes, as we will start the offer process. And what this does is it forces them to engage. So it increases the likelihood of them responding. And if they call, it doesn't matter, because now once you've already called them, you can do your sales work. You already have a reason to call regardless because they submitted all their information, and it makes it extremely easy for this process to be implemented. And that's why, again, like I said, we can end up with a cost per lead of we can end up with a cost per lead of $70 and get 24 leads out of $1,600 and close 2 deals out of it. Now, if you're actively running or thinking about running paid ads for your wholesale business and either want to make your current ads more profitable or just make more money from the jump, that's exactly what I do for wholesale businesses like yours. I script the creatives, structure, and manage the ad account, and handle all the nuances that come with scaling your ads. If that's something you're interested in, the first link in the description goes right to my website. That aside, this is the end of this video. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.